So the first question we would like to ask is, could you tell us a bit about yourself, about your practice, your team members, and different services you offer your clients?
Indeed. So, Global Tax Consulting, we're a firm based in the UK and we specialise in assisting expats and digital nomads. So, in a nutshell, individuals or taxpayers that have cross border or international tax affairs. In respect of the services that we provide, we're focused on personal taxation. So, things such as residency planning, optimisation planning, and tax return services. In respect of the practice itself, so I'm self-employed, so I own the business and we don't have any full-time employees. So in effect, we're a very small kind of fish in a big pond.
Yeah, and I guess there's many solo practitioners out there. What was your journey like finding TaxDome, Emma?
So historically, I've been using a CRM system in respect of the tax filing software that we use. So to file our tax returns in the UK, I was using their CRM system. And it was quite old, mundane system. So I was essentially looking for kind of getting an improved solution, shall we say, something that's a bit more kind of technologically advanced, something a bit more revolutionary. And then I came across TaxDome. I believe it was 1 week or 2 week trial with TaxDome that they actually offer. So it's a free trial just to check if kind of your firm fits with TaxDome, shall we say. And then from there, I've not looked back and I've been using TaxDome ever since.
Brilliant. It's great to hear. I think our platform has a great usability, a great aesthetic when you dive into the platform. You mentioned that you were using the tax filing software before as a CRM. What was the solution you were using, Emma?
The company is called TaxCalc. And I
Fantastic.
must mention they are very good for tax filing, but TaxDome CRM system is a lot more advanced than their solution.
No, I completely agree with you. TaxCalc are a fantastic company and they have separate modules that you can purchase for example, e-signing and document
Yeah,
storage, whereas TaxStone, that's all kept together. With
yeah,
relation to
exactly.
your previous tech stack, Emma, were there any other softwares you were using for document storage, e-signing?
So I was using everything through TaxCalc, but historically I was employed by Deloitte. So I was working as a tax advisor at Deloitte. So I've had experience using their CRM system called Global Advantage. And yeah, again, I'd say TaxStorm is 5 steps ahead of any CRM system that I've used. But yeah, in terms of, I guess, CRM systems historically, they're very kind of mundane and you can tell they haven't been updated. Whereas TaxDome, you can tell it's very fresh. It's got a lot of new features. It looks good. It's kind of sleek, shall we say. It looks like a brand new offering. Whereas other CRM systems that I've used, you can tell they were built 20 years ago and they haven't been updated since.
Awesome. And you mentioned the CRM multiple times, and that was obviously a big pain point for you. What specifically, outside of the aesthetic and the layout of our CRM, made it stand out to you so much?
I think if you move your practice to TaxStorm, it's an all-in-one solution, so you can manage your full life cycle as a tax advisor or an accountant through the TaxStorm software. So if you think to begin with, you maybe have an introductory call with a client, you can book that through the TaxStorm software. You then maybe engage with a client, so you're sending them engagement letters. You can send that through the TaxDome software. You can get the client to electronically sign the document through the TaxDome software. Once that's complete, you may well be collecting information from the client, so you can prepare the service for the client. You can chat to the client within the software. So if you've got any questions about the information that they've submitted, you can have a chat with them through the software. It's kind of like a WhatsApp solution within the software. Once you've delivered the service, you can provide that through the software for the client to approve, for the client to sign. And then the last kind of, tying it all together, you can actually bill the client through the software too. So it certainly is, from a tax advisor or an accountant's perspective, you can manage the full life cycle of the kind of the client solution through the software. So you can, yeah, everything comes together through the software. So I'd say that's probably the biggest advantage, shall I say, of using TaxDome is everything's in one place. So it makes it, yeah, a lot more straightforward for the tax advisor and the accountant, and it enables you to save a lot of time because everything's in one place.
Absolutely. And you mentioned proposals, information requests, invoices, things that can also be included in the workflow automation platform. Linking that to the CRM, having everything integrated in one platform makes it more accessible, makes you become more efficient too. And the CRM comes in two separate pages. So you have that customizable table, which gives you a nice summary of all of your clients, but then you can dig deeper into a specific client and take a look at their overview page, which is going to automatically summarize all the different engagement letters you've sent them, all the different invoices that have been created as well. So it's a great platform to keep everything all together. When
Yeah,
you
that's right.
when you made the decision to come over to TaxDome, Emma, you mentioned that the CRM was a really big factor in that decision-making process. Were there any other features or functionalities that encouraged you to join us as well?
I think, I mean, first and foremost, it's the automation. So I guess one kind of, I guess what I point out is with TaxStorm, there is a little bit of work on the accountants or the tax advisor's side to begin with. So TaxStorm provide you with templates, they provide you with kind of the standard solutions. And then what the tax advisor or accountant needs to do is go in and tweak those solutions, so tweak the engagement letters, tweak the workflows, etc. Tweak how the billing, how they want the bill to look to the client. Once they've kind of put that time in, then everything can be automated. So it's just a click of a button, and essentially, yes, a service is delivered, an engagement letter sent, a bill sent to a client. So I think the automation is kind of second to none. That's what stands it apart. But other than this, TaxStorm also have a notification feature. So you can set a notification to either be sent to your inbox in the TaxStorm CRM system, or to be sent to your inbox, i.e. your Outlook or your Gmail inbox. And this is a notification when a client provided some information. So I guess the point being here is TaxStorm can create your to-do list without you having to, create your to-do list on Word document or on a piece of paper. TaxDome automatically create your to-do list, so you can log on in the morning. You can see these notifications, and then you can see which actions that you need to complete with respect to the specific clients that you're servicing on a daily basis. So I guess, yeah, one, automation; two, the to-do list; three, I'd say that the onboarding experience, certainly for our clients' perspective, has been really successful. So you essentially send the client some details to log on to the portal, and then the actions are set up for the client. So the engagement letter is ready to sign, the information request is ready for the client to complete. So it makes it, I guess it makes a good experience for the firm, but also for the client too, because everything's really straightforward and it's not time consuming for the client. And then another feature of the portal, or the TaxDome portal, that we don't actually use, but I assume that other firms probably do use, is when you deliver a service to a client, before they can view the service, it is possible to request that the client pays for the service prior to viewing the work. So if you do have any clients that typically don't, they take a while to pay you, or they miss the payment deadline, you have this kind of feature whereby they can't view your service, so they can't view the deliverable until they've paid the invoice. So again, that might be very helpful for firms if they do have clients that don't pay, or even if for cash flow purposes, if they just want the client to pay kind of upon completion of service immediately. There's this feature in TaxDome that will require the client to pay prior to seeing the service or the deliverable.
It puts the ball in their court, essentially. You've completed your work and they can see that you've completed it,
Yeah.
but it's not their turn to be proactive and continue that process. A lot of fantastic points there, Emma, with the workflow automation platform that's fully customizable, enabling you to create onboarding processes for each tax service that you offer your clients. You also talked about the notification center, which again is customizable, and you can tailor that to receive these notifications via email or via the inbox plus functionality within the platform. When you log into your TaxDome account, Emma, would that be your first port of call to go to the inbox plus? What's your normal journey look like?
Yes, so normal journey is on a morning logging into TaxDome, and like I said, the notification center is kind of your to-do list, so you can see overnight what actions have been completed by clients, what kind of and those actions, the kind of workflows that are due to those actions completed by the client. So for example, you might send an engagement letter to a client. That client then signs the engagement letter. You log in, you can see that, and then the workflow has moved to requesting maybe an information request, sending an information request to the client because they've signed the engagement letter. So they sign the engagement letter, let's say for a tax return, that's been processed through the TaxDome portal, and then automatically an information request has been sent to the client to provide information for the tax return preparation. So everything's automated, and you can see this through the notification center. So yeah, like I mentioned, it is the to-do list is done for you automatically, but via TaxDome, via this notification center.
And on the topic of these automations in the workflow platform, approximately, Emma, how much time would you estimate you save per month or per week utilizing those automations?
Yeah, I mean, I've never quantified it, but definitely I'd say life's a lot easier now that I'm using TaxDome, because it is just a click of a button, and the kind of information sent to the client or the workflow moves on automatically. So yeah, I wouldn't be able to quantify, but yeah, I'd say it's definitely, it has saved a lot of time, and because we're able to kind of, I guess, standardize procedures. So you take on a client that might be, say, for example, in a particular avatar of a client. So, our avatars are someone moving to the UK, someone leaving the UK, or someone digital nomad. You build the automation around these avatars. And then once you take on a client that fits the particular avatar, the workflow becomes automated, because you tell TaxDome that, look, I've got a client moving to the UK, we need to follow this process. And the TaxDome portal will automatically follow kind of the avatar process that's already been built for that particular client. So yeah, I'd say, everything's automated. Hours are definitely saved. To quantify it, I don't know, but yeah, for sure, a lot of hours are saved using the TaxDome portal.
Yeah, of course. And obviously the advantage of having these customizable flows, where, as you mentioned before, it's just a click of a button to add one of your clients to the job, and it's going to send your clients to their dedicated secure space, engagement letters, information requests, chats, and more. On that client aspect side, Emma, what have your clients' feedback been with relation to logging into the portal? Do they find it easy, or have they shared any?
Yeah, they have. So, and you can actually, a lot of clients have mentioned the portal on reviews, so Google Maps reviews or Trusted Pilot reviews. So yeah, clients are really impressed and have mentioned that, yeah, it's an extremely straightforward platform to use. It's very clear. It's very clear in terms of the actions that they need to complete in order for us to deliver the services. So when the client logs into the platform, there's different sections. So section to kind of an action section, a billing section, etc. So everything's laid out and very straightforward for clients to use. One benefit of TaxDome on our part is that it's white labeled. So if you read our reviews, the clients have mentioned the GTC portal, but obviously it's a TaxDome portal. It's just because it's white labeled. So that's, another benefit of using the TaxDome portal is you can white label it, so it looks like it's your firm's portal or your accountancy practices portal, and then that's because TaxDome enable you to white label the portal.
Enables you to offer a more professional service to your clients. And it's great to hear that you're receiving positive reviews as well online, Emma, about your work. That's great. Also with the client portal, Have you found that the user friendliness of that interaction with your clients has reduced the turnaround times for information that's being shared? Um,
Well, it goes back to the automation point. So, to engage with a client, I guess historically you probably needed to send an email, then to print out the engagement letter, then to wet sign the engagement letter, scan it back to you. Whereas with TaxStorm, it's just a digital signature, so they can log into the portal, digital sign, and then we can proceed with services. Same with the information collection. So TaxDome kind of has like a Google form equivalent. So you input, you can collect information via a Google form through the TaxDome portal. So again, it's easy for the client. It's very straightforward for the client. Yes, no, numeric responses, text responses. It's all included within this form, and it does make it very easy for the client to come in, provide their information. It's a very quick process. And of course, because the platform, you can tell the software is new, it's very easy to use. I think overall the usability element again is second to none for the client, because it kind of, it's quick, it's efficient, and it also looks pretty, so it's nice for the client to use it. It's probably a change for clients that are probably used to, historically maybe sending information via email or sending information via writing and scanning it to their accountant or tax advisor. With TaxDome, everything's online, everything's efficient, yeah, and everything looks nice. So from a client, the feedback that we've had from the client is, yeah, super positive, and you can see that through the reviews. So even clients have mentioned the portal in Google reviews or Trusted Pilot reviews, which shows that they're thinking about the portal. It's made a difference to their experience using our firm and using the portal as part of the service offering.
It's fantastic. And also, when we talk about the portal, we're talking about the cloud solution online. So they can log in through a link within their browser, but they also have the option to log in via the mobile application too, where again, they'll be able to scan documents with the camera on their phone, complete e-signature requests. They can even share information with you and communicate with you on the go as well.
Yeah,
As a broader question, Emma, what were your challenges before coming to TaxDome, and how did TaxDome help you overcome those?
I think it's more so that I guess the full solution was all over the place. So, sometimes we were emailing clients information requests, we were uploading documents to I think it's Microsoft Word, the solution Microsoft Word, where you can send a request to clients. We had the CRM system with TaxCalc. So it's not necessarily that it was a challenge, it was just all clunky. So it was just a bit all over the place. Whereas TaxDome now, like I said, it's an all-in-one solution. So everything can be managed through TaxDome. The full life cycle of onboarding a client to then invoicing the client is managed through TaxDome. And I think, yeah, that it's not to say, I don't think it's to say that, challenges in a sense of you're losing clients because you're not with TaxDome, but it's more so that if you become a TaxDome client, so you move your firm to TaxDome, it's going to make life a lot more straightforward, and everything's going to be in one place. So it makes it a lot more efficient for the firm. It makes it a lot more efficient for the client that you can have this solution in one place. Just makes the experience a million times better for the firm and also for the client. So yeah, the challenges were, to summarize, bit all over the place, and TaxDome have tidied our process up from onboarding a client to billing a client.
Yeah, really good, useful feedback. Thank you for that, Emma. Earlier on, when we talked about the workflow platform, and you were talking about the time necessary to set up the automation, set up the templates so it's meeting your needs, so it's going to be bespoke to your practice. Of course, we have those templates that you're able to copy into your own library. We also have free and unlimited support where we'll be able to step in and help you create these processes. So to really move the conversation over to the support side, what has your interaction been like with our support team, and what are some of the useful channels that you found have been most beneficial to you?
Yeah. So TaxStorm actually has a, I guess, usability guide online. So, if you've got a question about how a particular process works, you can usually find the answer online. So and there's I've never came across a situation whereby I've had maybe, you know, a little niggle, shall we say, or I've got a question about how a particular function works. There's always a page online, kind of a manual, shall we say, a manual of how to use TaxDome, and within there it's written text on what you need to do if you've got any difficulties, and then there's also a YouTube video to kind of explain how a particular function works. So more often than not, you don't actually need the customer support, kind of a human support, because TaxDome already has a manual, basically an answer to everything online. Now, when I have spoken to an actual human support, yeah, I found TaxDome to be extremely responsive. So typically when I've engaged with human support at TaxDome, they've responded within 2 hours, so a bit obviously business hours, but yeah, they're very prompt and responsive to answer my questions. But yeah, that's kind of very few and far between, because a lot of the time the kind of online guide that TaxDome provides answers the question anyway, so you don't need the human support.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, it's nice to hear that you're receiving those quick responses and that we're able to really assist you autonomously with those help articles, which have a lot of context about each separate feature and functionality. Well, Emma, it's been really insightful getting to learn more about your experience with us. Do you have any final remarks to share with us about your TaxDome experience and journey?
I think all I'd say is you can tell that TaxDome, you've built this beautiful system, shall we say, but you're not stopping there. So you are constantly adding new features to the portal. So you are constantly looking to innovate and revolutionise the tax and accountancy kind of CRM space. So yeah, I would just like to close out that yes, you know, everything's great at the minute, but you are still adding to the portal. So from our perspective, that's really important. So we know that you are going to continue to innovate, add great features to the portal, as well as you're not just stopping at what you've created now. You are going to build upon what you've created, which yeah, for us is also really important. So I guess in 10 years' time, you know, what I'd expect is you to still be the main player in the market for tax advisors and accountants, because you are constantly innovating and adding new features. So to summarize, you know, I don't see TaxDome going out of date, shall we say. I see you constantly matching the market or beating the market with a software solution.
Emma, we really appreciate your time and all the feedback you've shared. It's been great to hear how you've been able to help you streamline your process, become more efficient, and offer your clients a more professional experience with regards to the interaction on the client portal. Really, again, thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience with us, and have a great day.
Yeah, thank you.